out to Nassau Coliseum on Long Island yesterday to support former President Trump. There was a sea of red hats outside and inside the arena in Uniondale. Mr. Trump focusing most of his speech on immigration, ripping Democrats in New York City for their handling of the migrant crisis. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate live outside Trump Tower in Midtown with a recap and the latest. Phil.
Mike, former President Donald Trump is waking up at Trump Tower this morning. This after appearing before an energetic crowd of thousands at Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, aiming to get in front of as many supporters as the race to the White House continues. He drew the names from the top leadership in the Republican Party, and he was prepared to close the show with a speech which heavily focused on the subject of immigration. He ripped into Democratic leadership in representing our city and state, blaming them for homeless people living in what he called horrible, disgusting, dangerous, filthy encampments, and even the conditions on the subway, which he called squalid and unsafe, and promised to renovate.
The trains and subways are squalid and unsafe. Businesses are fleeing. The mobs of illegal migrants are being put up in luxury hotels at your expense, while our great veterans live on the freezing or steaming sidewalks right outside the main entrance to where the migrants enter their hotel. Think of that.
And this heavily secured rally just days after the second apparent attempt on the former president's life in Florida over the weekend. More than 60,000 tickets were requested for the big event, even though the facility could hold 16,000. Now, tens of thousands of his supporters couldn't get inside and stuck around just to be near the presidential nominee, watching his address on large screens outside. Now, I just want to make mention as we're back live here outside of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, as there is an increased security presence that's beefed up. Now, it's more than what we've seen in the past. Now, Trump's security is heightened near to the level of a sitting president. Now, Trump will be leaving the tower here on Fifth Avenue at some point today. He will then be heading over to Brooklyn, and we do know that from Brooklyn, he will then head to our nation's capital. We are live.
Have y'all seen how big some of these Trump rallies are? I don't know what Kamala Harris was talking about with regard to crowd sizes, but I'm telling you, look, he be coming to Michigan. I know he coming again to Warren, Michigan, which is right outside of Detroit. I won't even go, bro. I won't even go because it's too crazy. Listen, this is what his crowd size was like in New York. They say it was insane.
Fox up over the Coliseum during the height of the crowds lined up to see the former president. More than 60,000 tickets were requested for the rally, with the arena only available to hold around 16,000. Counter-protesters also waiting for Donald Trump.
Fox 5's Jessica Formoso live outside the Coliseum with more on the crowds and all of those counter-protesters. Jess.
Teresa and Steve, a huge turnout, and from what we witnessed, things really ran smoothly. As you can see behind my shoulder, the Trump supporters have left. All that's left here are the vendors and those who are cleaning up. Now, we have to give a shout out to Nassau County Police and their partners who really did a great job keeping everyone safe here tonight. Now, just outside the gates of the Coliseum, that's where the counter-protest took place, one of them being the Haitian community who were out there protesting. We did witness some Trump supporters going into the zone, agitating some of the protesters, but police acted quickly, not letting things get out of hand. Just before 6:30 p.m., the doors to Nassau Coliseum closed. The arena had reached full capacity. According to the Trump team, 60,000 tickets were sold for tonight's.
Look at that rally. That is insane.
Rally, only 16,000 supporters made their way in. The thousands who did not make it inside ended up in the plaza where 3 big TV screens were set up.
We like 10 people from getting in.
It's okay. We're still here. We're still in it just for the support.
Doesn't matter. We're here and we had great friends online. We all high-fived. It's wonderful to be here, regardless if we got in or not.
Some supporters came prepared with their lawn chairs, while others just sat on the ground waiting for the former president to pop up on the screens.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, President Trump.
A little after 7 p.m., Trump took to the stage. The same energy inside the arena was felt outside.
USA!
We've heard it all. We believe in it.
Outside Nassau Coliseum in the backdrop of Trump's rally, the Haitian American community held a counter protest calling
Oh, man.
out Trump for the comments he made about Haitians eating pets.
He's a racist, he's a convicted felon, and we want him not to get in.
Trump's campaign rally here on Long Island is his first since his second assassination attempt. Security, as expected, was tight throughout the entire day. A number of street closures causing gridlock in and around the Coliseum. While the former president rallied, traffic on Hempstead Turnpike flew smoothly, but once the event was over, it was a traffic jam that started in the parking lot, spilling out onto the streets.
That's insane. Anyways, so his plan to tackle mass deportation, that has become the big highlight and the big stumping issue. Is no longer abortion, it's now mass deportation.
Welcome back. We are just 1 week away from the September 30th government shutdown deadline. House and Senate leaders have reached a bipartisan agreement to fund the government through December 20th. This continuing resolution includes $231 million for the U.S. Secret Service, with conditions that the agency cooperate with congressional investigations after 2 failed assassination attempts against former President Trump. It does not include the same.
Why do we keep having these short-term government funding things? We've had this entire administration.
Act, which, of course, President Trump supported. This is a measure that would help secure upcoming elections by preventing non-citizens from voting, which is illegal, by the way. The House is expected to vote on this bill as early as Wednesday. Joining me now is South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, member of the House Oversight, Armed Services, and Veterans.
Not Nancy. Not Nancy. Y'all know who Nancy is? Y'all don't know who Nancy is? Nancy is the woman that Michael Eric Dyson was DMing. Y'all don't know who Nancy is? This is Michael Eric Dyson.
Hey, my friends, Michael Eric Dyson here. Just want to clear something up. A vicious untruth and rumor that's being spread by Congresswoman Nancy Mace, claiming I was trying to hit on her. So I'm trying to figure this out. So this is our complete text exchange that she says proves I was trying to hit on her. We were on CNN together.
Don't worry about it, big dog. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Let me get back to my original thing. We're going to discuss that on the Q show tonight. Don't worry about it. We're going to discuss it on the Q show tonight. Make sure y'all tuned in tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a fun time.
Welcome back. We are just 1 week away from this morning. Thanks so much for being here. What is the fate of this bill to ensure that we don't have a government shutdown and give more funding and resources to Secret Service?
Well, I believe this bill will pass. We do this almost every year. We have a short-term spending measure until December, and then in December there will be an omnibus or a larger continuing resolution to continue funding at record.
He wanted him some snow bunny. He wanted him some snow hair. Not the snow hair, the snow bunny. He wanted a snow bunny. He wanted a snow rabbit. Did anybody get Umar Johnson on the phone to talk about Michael Eric Dyson?
Levels and not address the excessive spending by the federal government. This is just business as usual in Washington. I expect it to pass this week, and then we'll go on to December. We'll spend more than ever, and we'll do an omnibus or another CR for next year, I would imagine, at the end of the year.
Well, I mean, this is what you've been complaining about, right? Too many CRs, time after time after time. I mean, are you waiting, and you and your colleagues, are you waiting in hopes that President Trump takes the helm and then you'll decide on spending for 2025 after that? Is that why you're doing such a short-term bill till December 20th?
That's the best case scenario, is that Trump gets reelected to the White House and can direct us and at the spending levels. We have to cut spending. I mean, I just had a candidate forum last night, and I listened to voters. People are sick and tired of the government having a blank check, basically, and not taking care of business. As you mentioned, we throw more money at more problems like the Secret Service, who has not cooperated with Congress at all since the attempted assassination attempt, both of them, by the way. I don't have a lot of faith with without some strings attached and making sure that we keep him protected, for example. What are we going to do to stop funding NGOs that are helping illegals cross the southern border? What are we doing to shut down the border? And so when you think about the way that we waste our taxpayer dollars right now, the American people are sick of it. I hope and I pray that Donald Trump is reelected, that we actually cut spending, that we preserve Social Security, et cetera, because in 10 years, that's going to be insolvent. We aren't doing anything right now to solve America's fiscal problems.
Well, I want to get your take on how the Secret Service can best use this money in protecting President Trump and other candidates. I spoke with Eric Prince yesterday. He is the founder of Blackwater, and he had an idea in terms of protecting President Trump. I want to get your take on it. Watch this.
There's a lot of chatter about more help is needed, and that's absolutely for sure. Trying to integrate private security into that would be exceedingly difficult, especially for the private guys. I recommend that JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, has Delta Force and SEAL Team 6, the two most elite commando units in the world. They have a lot of capacity. There's precedent. They could put 10 guys on the detail and make it happen.
What do you think, Congresswoman?
Well, I would be all in for everything to keep Donald Trump safe. If having JSOC soldiers would be helpful, I would support it. I also believe better training for these individuals. We can't allow this to continue to happen. I am very fearful for him and his family, his children and grandchildren, because of what they're up against right now. And so I think we need to make sure that he has all the resources he needs to be safe.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trump announced a new border policy plan during a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina on Saturday night. Watch this.
I'm announcing a new plan to end all sanctuary cities in North Carolina and all across our country. No more sanctuary cities.
The Texas Department of Public Safety also said that state troopers encountered 36 illegal migrants near the southern border on Friday, which included some special interest migrants from Turkey, Pakistan, India, and Vietnam. The group from Turkey told troopers that they paid $12,000 a head to cross into the U.S. illegally in an effort to meet the so-called sponsor that is waiting for.
So I have a question. Where did these so-called illegals get $12,000 per person? Where did these so-called illegals, because they paying $12,000 per person, where did they get $12,000 per person to cross? And they got finesse. And where's this money going to?
For them in New Jersey, Congresswoman. It's unbelievable that this is all so planned out.
Most Americans can't even come up with $1,000 in an emergency, and they paying $12,000 per person, like they going to Disney World.
And the drug cartels are accepting $12,000 a head from these folks to come in illegally. Nothing has changed.
Well, just a few years ago, it was only $8,000 across the southern border. So it looks like inflation has hit the criminal cartels. I mean, look, the Biden-Harris administration, the wide open borders, they are funding criminal cartels in Mexico and South America. They are allowing this to happen by pushing back and reversing all of Donald Trump's border policies that kept our country safe.
I agree,
Molly. There are hundreds of terrorists on the terrorist watch list that have come across the southern border. We are less safe than ever because of it. And again, another reason why we must re-elect Donald Trump to keep our country safe.
Yeah, it's Liz Peek, jump in here. I believe it's 350 people apprehended at the border in the last 3.5 years who were actually on the terrorist watch list, Liz.
So
yes,
I think Trump is right that we have to cut down on the attractions that bring people across the border, Maria. And Representative Mace, I'm interested, and one of your colleagues introduced a bill last year basically banning sanctuary cities. And this does have to go through Congress, I believe. My question to you is, was that bill ever picked up? What kind of support would there be for a bill that basically gets rid of one of the great enticements for criminals and so forth coming into our country who know they will be protected in New York or San Francisco from ICE, from deportation, which I think is a horror.
It is a horror, and I would support any legislation that would ban sanctuary cities. To my knowledge, it has not gotten picked up. It has not had a vote in the House of Representatives, and I agree we need to eliminate every single incentive that allows these individuals to be emboldened and come across our country illegally, to include defunding the NGOs that are telling them how to get to the southern border, how to cross into it, and how to vote. That has to stop.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, what about your...
I agree. I believe in immigration, but I believe in legal. I don't know why that's such a difficult thing for people to grasp. Legal migration into this country. I do not believe in illegal immigration into this country. But even according to Biden, the only way that you can really have a great country is to have secure borders.